I'm part of Cambridge Assessment, which is a department of the University of Cambridge, and it has within it 3 awarding organisations. Cambridge English tests English language skills, so we can put that one to the side. The organisation I'm in is Cambridge International Exams, and we provide IGCSEs and international A-levels and O-levels in over 164 different countries. My sister organisation, OCR, is the UK-based awarding organisation, and they deliver the GCSEs and the A-levels for the UK. Now, I'm giving you that little background because I want to say something that's actually quite important from an assessment professional's point of view right at the beginning, because you'll see as I go through, I've only got 5 slides, I think, where I'm going with this. The sort of courses, the syllabuses that we provide across a lot of different subjects, we have over 1,000 syllabuses, are very different to the ones that you find in the US and in most of the rest of the world, although they will have the same name. They will be called geography or chemistry or maths. But normally, less than 50% of our courses test content. The amount of content will be the same as in other courses, but the assessment objectives are weighted such that only 50% of the assessment tests content, and the other 50% or so, broad figures, the other 50% or so test skills. And the skills that they test are the analysis, evaluation, synthesis, higher order skills in the context of that subject. I've only been given 5 minutes, I'm going to crack on. One of the other very important thing that you need to understand about assessment, which you know, but I find it does help to just get people to focus on it for a minute, is the washback effect. So, like it or not, and we don't particularly like it, but it is a fact of life, unless something is assessed, it is not focused on in the classroom. And we're very aware of that, and so we put a lot of effort into making sure that what we assess will give a positive washback effect. Because what really gets us out of bed in the morning is excellence in education. We want all students to have access to a really good education. So we're just going to have a little think about how we can achieve that in today's world. I've just put this up because everybody knows that manual skills, people needing manual skills, has reduced drastically over the past decades. That's true. The interesting fact is that routine cognitive skills, which as you can see is just dropping off the bottom of the graph. Non-routine cognitive skills over the decades is the one that's risen. But that non-routine, that routine cognitive skills is actually what most of the world's education is teaching the students to do. That's the kind of learning facts and then regurgitating them in a limited number of scenarios. And that is not a skill that anyone needs anymore. So we need to give some thought about that. Now, when you assess, you have to have defined criteria against which you are assessing those students. I've put this slide up just to show you the ATC 21S categories. So they looked at across a number of definitions of 21st century skills. You can see there are 10 of them. You don't have to read them all in 4 categories. When you want to assess things, and if you're an educationalist, the first thing you do is take the skills that you want to assess and put them onto some kind of taxonomy of educational objectives. And the most famous one is Bloom's. Most of you here will know Bloom's taxonomy. Those of you that don't, it's the inverted triangle. You don't have to read what's in the lozenges. The lozenges are the 21st century skills. I just want you to notice 2 things about them. One is that 3 of them are completely outside the taxonomy, outside the inverted triangle. So they don't even fit into the normal range of educational objectives upon which courses and assessments are designed. Okay. The other interesting thing is that there are the lozenges which are on the taxonomy are clustered towards the higher end. And those are the higher order thinking skills: analysis, evaluate, create. And when you're in assessment, those are the skills that make your heart sink, because they are very difficult to assess reliably and with validity. So we have a situation here where we're wanting our students going out to university or into the world of work, needing these kind of skills, but they're very difficult to assess, and some of them are very new for us to assess. So let's just have a little think about what the courses should be. I've called this skills-based courses. It really means in any course, in your maths course, what is it that you're wanting your students to get through that course? The first thing I've put up, because people often forget it, is that it's really important that students get an interdisciplinary approach, so that they can transfer any skills that they learn in one subject across to another. They actually find that really difficult to do, so it's something we have to put effort into. But more important, so bold, the learning journey. With these 21st century skills, quite often, as we've already discussed today, there might not be a correct outcome. You can't assess an answer that's even within a ballpark of a single correct answer. There might literally be no correct answer, just a perspective. There are all sorts of things that we want people to have, like the teamwork, like problem solving, perspectives, and the internally facing skills like reflection. Those are all part of this learning journey, and we have to allow the students the time and the space to go through those processes themselves, because it's by doing that, and possibly not doing it very well to begin with, that they're going to learn those skills. So we need to provide them with space to undergo that learning journey. Okay, so far this sounds, okay to me. I'm working my way through this. Everything's fine. Now, who was it? Was it John that had on his slide, the assessment is difficult? I can't remember, but I should have taken a photograph of that one. Was it? So, how does assessment need to change? Well, the first thing is this recognition that we've got to test content. You cannot just have skills only. You can't either learn or test a skill in a contextless environment. You've got to have something to hang it off. So there's got to be content, so you've got a box of content you've got to have and assess. That's quite easy. Then you've got the kind of skills I was talking about, the analysis, synthesis, creativity, which are part of Bloom's taxonomy, and we can assess those. They're easier to assess using technology than they are using paper-based things, but we can do that. We've been around for 150 years, actually, longer now, assessing, so we can do that. But that middle bullet there, this is where assessment now really does have to change, because we are not just assessing that a student has, for instance, collaborated. That's a good 21st century skill, collaboration. It's not just about whether you've collaborated or not. It's how do we judge and assess what is good collaboration and what is not such good collaboration. We can't be dealing with a pass-fail in these matters. We need a more granular assessment methodology. So that's our challenge. That's where assessment needs to change. I've put just, and not just for you, David, although we were talking over lunch over this, that's the formative assessment bullet. This is something that's going to drive education a lot, but I'm not going to say anything about it now because it's a little bit of a sideline. Just my last slide, just so that you can see why we are very interested in Cambridge Assessment in computer-based maths, because there is this natural separation of two different paradigms, what maths really is, what it is we should be testing, and then just a little bit of information about what Cambridge is doing, looking at CBM activities in the context of general qualifications, general high-stakes qualifications.